Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is Nancy Guthrie. Where is Nancy Guthrie? This is the question we've been asking since the end of January this year, 2026. We thought this case would be solved quickly. An 84-year-old woman disappears in the dead of night. Just poof, vaporized, beamed up to Starship Enterprise. No sign of her except some drops of blood on the porch. Then the videos were released of Porch Guy. We can see him here. Nobody's come forward even now to say who he is. We don't know who he is. The DNA is not been sort of hasn't identified anybody yet. The hair that was found in Nancy's bedroom has proved inconclusive. The ransom notes, apparently the FBI can't work out where the ransom notes have come from yet. Anyway, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. She hasn't been found yet, or at least as far as we know. But a couple of interesting things that have come up. So, first of all, the neighbours in this area of Tucson, Arizona, had said that people had been back searching, authorities searching the area after the rain that they'd had in the area. Now, Pima County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Nanos, the clown sheriff, he is denying that it was anything to do with any of his operatives, but the FBI typically is staying quiet about it all, not saying yay or nay. So have they? Are they still searching for Nancy in the area? My own personal opinion, Nancy is in that area. I've said it from the beginning. I had a little vision of Nancy right at the beginning, saying she was in some sort of a well, which could be a septic tank, or I don't know. That is, and I'm not saying that that is true. I'm just saying that was the experience I had. She just sort of whispered in my, I can't explain it. You either believe in those things or you don't. I can't call them to order. This is what happened, and it could be a load of rubbish. It could just be me sort of, I don't know, fantasizing or something, or having some sort of a psychotic break. But that's what, and I was so convinced of it, and it felt so real. I even did contact the Pima Sheriff's Department and tell them about this. Now, apparently, the septic tank has been searched at Nancy's house, but I'm sure there are lots more round about. Just feels to me she is roundabout locally, not far away. So, are they going to find her? Let me just read you this article. And then I've got something else interesting. I want to say that actually I saw on JLR Investigates, and whatever you think of JLR, he's a clever guy, and he's experienced with crime and things, and he came out with a very good point. What I thought was a very good point, and I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. So, FBI returns to Nancy Guthrie's home as pressure mounts on the agency to catch the kidnappers. The demand for the FBI's expansive role comes after critics blast Pima County for its Nancy Guthrie case. I mean, I think there's nobody out there that would say that Pima County dealt with it well. They didn't secure the crime scene, first and foremost. That mat that's on the patio, it's still there on the patio. There was blood all over the patio at the front porch, and they didn't take the mat away. This is regardless of later, when they got the video from the porch. There's a there's a porch there. An old lady's disappeared. God knows where she is. There's blood all over the porch, and they didn't take the mat away that's right in the middle of where all this blood is. So apparently some people are saying they didn't associate it with a crime in the beginning. They thought that the blood that was there on the porch could have just been from a previous sort of fall, or she could have hurt herself or cut herself. She's a gardener. She could have cut herself, couldn't she? Because it wasn't enough blood to suggest she was dead, but it was quite a lot of blood all the same. Anyway, this is what they're saying. I mean, they're supposed to be the, excuse my French, but they're supposed to be the effing experts. I'm not an expert, and even I know when somebody disappears from their home in the middle of the night and there's blood all over the porch, it's a crime scene. So instead, everybody was allowed to walk up to that door. Journalists took pictures of it. Brian Enton took photos of the blood, a video of the blood. Pizza delivery people went there. Oh, it was like the wilderness dog, literally. Were on that crime scene within the first few days. So it's definitely been compromised, even if they found some DNA on the mat there, which still hasn't been taken away, incidentally. How are they going to prove that it's the perpetrator's DNA when the wilderness dog was, they would say, oh, well, it could be anyone's. Anyway, so they did make a cock up of it. Now the FBI are dealing with it. Hopefully it's, going further. I don't know. Anyway, so a score of Federal Bureau of Investigation agents returned to the site where Nancy Guthrie went missing, according to this article, illuminating the alleged pressure on the agency to take a larger role in the case. I mean, fucking 6 months have gone by. It's a bit late, isn't it? According to Fox News Digital, which interviewed the missing person's neighbour, she told, I presume it's a she, told the outlet the authorities combed the area behind Savannah Guthrie's mum's property, which is mostly desert. But Nanos, meanwhile, the head of the investigation, shared that officers are reviewing literally tens of thousands of videos. He said what happens daily is the team looks at these videos and really they're just kind of compartmentalizing them. Now the thing is, no vehicle's been identified yet. So that's another reason why, you think, I just think this is someone local to the area, someone who knew Nancy. I don't necessarily think it was a kidnap. I think that might well be a decoy, the kidnap notes, to make people think it was a ransom, but really maybe they just wanted to kill Nancy, for whatever reason. There's a million reasons it might be. That's my opinion. It's only my opinion. I think it's somebody who knew her, somebody who was comfortable at that house. They didn't look nervous. They didn't look rushed. They, on those videos, they were just taking their time. I think they knew her. I think they knew the house, and I think they're local. And I think Nancy is local, somewhere local. Because I think even if they had a vehicle, they're not going to want to get caught with Nancy Guthrie in the back of their vehicle or her corpse if she died that quickly. We don't know, did she die on that actually as they took her, or was it a couple of days later, or, if indeed or did they just kill her instantly? Why were they in her house for 40 minutes, over 40 minutes? There's a lot of questions, isn't there? A lot of questions. So apparently there's pressure for the FBI to take a leading role, whereas at the moment they are just assisting. And this is the controversy we've had, isn't it? That's what Kash Patel said, the director of the FBI, with his big job. Oh, well, we're just taking an insisting role. But then you get the clown sheriff Nanos saying, oh, well, it's equal and there's no problems between us, between him and the FBI. And you just can't believe a word he says, or Patel, to be honest. So recently, Savannah, the famous daughter of Nancy, who's the news reporter herself, I think Savannah's, as much as my heart breaks for her, I think because she's been quite down on people that have been reporting on this case. But if this wasn't her mother, she would be reporting on it just the same. So I think she has to remember what journalists do. Now, I know it's not good to, be horrible like to the family, and I know that her remarks were directed at YouTubers that she felt were grifting out of this case, and maybe they are. But you know what? At least they've kept Nancy's name alive for the last 6 months. There's people out there with missing loved ones whose families don't get any airtime, who's the searches just don't get any media attention. And sadly, when you get media attention, which is of course what Nancy's case has invoked, a lot of media attention, and it's never going to all be good. That is social media. I mean, Savannah should know that, to be fair, being a journalist herself. You put yourself out there, you get a lot of positive attention, but you are going to get negative attention. Sadly, that is the way of the world. And if you want attention for your loved one, for your plight, for the plight of your loved one, sadly you are going to get bad attention as well, which is quite sad. But anyway, my heart breaks for that family, especially for Annie and Tommaso, if they're not guilty, because a lot of people think they are. They've come in for a lot of cruel scrutiny. But the problem is, until the actual perpetrator's caught, nobody actually knows what happened to Nancy or who did it. All we know is somebody did something to Nancy. So of course Savannah said, we will never stop looking for answers. We'll never stop looking for the light. We'll always be hoping and praying and believing in the best of our world, in spite of circumstance. This is what our faith makes possible. So yeah, they're all people of faith, which hopefully is helping them. So I just wanted to tell you who knows? It's like everything in this case. Were they there looking, searching? Did they find anything? Will they find anything? Is Nancy nearby? And the thing that I just want to say to the end of this segment is what JLR said, which I thought was very true and very well spotted. In the ransom notes, when the alleged kidnappers talk about the timelines, time limits, they say 5 p.m. or, whatever they say. They just say the time. They don't qualify it because, of course, America and Mexico, a lot of people thinking that Nancy was taken to Mexico, they've got a completely different timeline. So wouldn't they say 5 p.m. Eastern time or Mountain time, or I don't know. I don't know all the different vagaries of American timelines. But you haven't, it's not like here in Spain, you've got one timeline. Well, even here in Spain, if you're in the Canary Islands, they've got a different time to Spain. Even though it's part of Spain, the Canary Islands follow the same time as Britain. They have the same time as Britain. So when it's 5 p.m. here in Spain, it's only 4 p.m. in the Canary Islands. So, and normally when you're listening to sort of national news or radio in Spain, they will say, welcome to the news at 4 in the Canary Islands. Now, the interesting thing about these kidnappers in their kidnap notes, they just said 5 p.m. or whatever time it was. They did not qualify the time, so you have to presume, and I think it anyway, but this confirms it, that the time zone is exactly the time zone as Tucson. They're not having to say a different time zone. So to me, these people are local. Nancy is around there somewhere. And the other thing is, of course, the notes were sent to local news. I mean, eventually they were sent to TMZ, but they were sent to the Tucson news sites. So I think all this is about Tucson. I don't think there's anything to do with Mexico in it. That's my own opinion. I know a lot of you still favour the fact that she's been taken to Mexico, which of course is not that far away, but it's got a completely different time zone. So, just wanted to tell you about those couple of things. Where is Nancy Guthrie? Where is this poor woman? You know, I pray for Nancy every day and her family. I feel that Nancy's gone from this world, but I think, you know, just for her family's peace of mind, for closure, and for dignity, Nancy needs to be laid to rest properly, not in nature, not be buried in nature like the alleged ransom note says. But of course, let me know what you think. You may disagree with me completely, that's fine, because at the end of the day, until this case is solved, nobody really knows. Okay, so those are the stories that I just wanted to update you on. There's still more that I'd like to tell you, like human remains have been found near motorway in Manchester. Is there any possibility that might be Jack O'Sullivan? Well, I'll look at that in another video, or maybe we'll find out soon. What was the other thing? Oh, I wanted to update you on the case of the poor Christian worker, Christian volunteer murdered in Greece. There's some updates there, but I don't want to make this video too long. So I will come back tomorrow morning probably to tell you about those. But what I wanted to tell you at the end here is what's happening today. I am going on location. And I will be back later at some point. I'm going to vlog what I'm doing. I'm going to meet some journalists from the UK. Yeah, so I'll have some very interesting things to tell you about hopefully later. And yeah, my members will be the first to know where I'm going. After I've been there, I don't like to tell people, you know, not that I'm worried about my members, but you never know, do you? So when I get there, I will be vlogging what I'm doing, and then later on today, probably tonight, I will release the videos and let you all know what's going on. But yeah, should be interesting. I hope so. Not been on location for a long time. It's difficult now for me to get out on location. Yeah, just hope I survive the heat. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. And yeah, if you can hype this video, please hype it. Thank you to all of you that have hyped my videos. And, you know, as I said earlier in this video, thank you to all the ways you positively contribute toward my channel, whatever they are. So take care of yourself. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.